And we're getting down to the close of this one. We are on our penultimate race, and we're headed to the Nurburgring. The Nordschleife, we're headed to the Green Hell for 2 sprint races, if you don't mind. So we've got a 20-minute and a 40-minute sprint race coming up tonight. Second race is reverse top 15, and it's going to be who can survive ahead of anything else at this treacherous track. So let's roll the intros, let's get stuck into tonight and see who can come away with the bickies for the penultimate round of the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series Season 3, and we'll see you on the other side of this break.
Very slowly, in fact, almost causing an accident there. Car stopped. No, in fact, we've got synchronized spinning. And driving there from everyone to make sure that we get through. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast presenting the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series live from the Green Hell. That's right, we are at the Nurburgring tonight for a 2 sprint races, a 15-minute and a 20-minute and a 40-minute sprint race tonight. So looking at about 3 laps and potentially 5 or so laps for the main race with our 15 top finishers from the first race inverted for race 2. And tonight I am joined in the combox by Scotty Rankin and Carl Withy. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mr. Brown. Carl, how you feeling? I heard you guys were making fun of me in the combox last night.
Not at all. It's not like we caught you spinning at all last night at Kota.
Okay, look, to be fair, I did make myself a really easy target to be the butt of jokes, so totally fair.
It's always the way, though. Whenever you catch, we were talking about how well you were doing, and then we cut to you, and then all of a sudden you go spinning around, as is the curse of the commentator in full effect there. Hopefully, we will not see that curse tonight, though, here at the Green Hell, because when you get cursed here, it is very, very bad, because it is such a long lap. One mistake can end up costing you. Well, it can cost you the race very easily here, because you can't exactly quickly get back to the pits and get a quick change of nose or tyre.
No, it's pretty much terminal here, so obviously to those, if there are any out there watching who aren't familiar with where we are, the map of the track is up on screen there. You can see that's not an accident, that is the length of this track. The longest active racetrack is still, well, in fact, it's not in operation anymore, actually. Only a section of it is. It's still open to the public who wish to brave themselves, but even that's been wound down a little bit over the years with the number of people who've gone there and thought that it's just a simple Sunday drive and ended up burying their cars in the fence. There's a couple of famous YouTube clips getting around of half a dozen cars ending up piling into one another when they've braved this place, but it is absolutely a spectacular place to be able to come and drive, even on iRacing.
I mean, you know, end of the day, that's exactly what it's about. It is probably the pinnacle of blind quarter motor racing. You don't. It's such an experience that there is nothing else like it. You know, you can't do anything more than go to the Nurburgring and nail it, because there's no longer a 20-kilometer Spa course. You know, this is effectively the pinnacle of, well, it's close to a rally racing as you're ever likely going to get. We'll put it that way. So, well, talking to the boys, there was a few dramas with server setup this evening. Those gremlins have now been fixed out. Thank you to everyone in the server for their patience. They've done a phenomenal job. And we're on to qualifying in 30 seconds. It's going to be a lone qualifying this evening, which is different from the format we normally see, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. So just very quickly before we do that, we're going to have Sam Lehman talk us through a lap round here this evening. Of course, Sam, series administrator and of 93 PC fame. So we're actually going to jump on board with him tonight, and he's going to take us through the corners on his qualifying lap. So that's something new to the stream, and we thank him for doing that. Very quickly touch on the race ballast. There is only 2 changes this week. We've got 5 kilos down on the AMG, 5 kilos up on the Ferrari. That Ferrari is going to be really well poised around here as well. The big booming BMW is going to enjoy its strengths down the straight, and we will jump into the race overview very, very quickly. As I said, like 120, 140 minute race. Survival is the key here. You've got to finish to finish first. You've got to finish full fuel tanks tonight, so that won't be an issue with one stop for the drivers. And it is the green hell for a reason. And let's jump on board. We'll bring Sam Lehman into the combox here. Welcome on stream, Sam. We've jumped on board with you here. He's about to jump out on his lap. You can just see he's parked halfway down the back straight here. And Sam, you're going to give us a run through tonight, a little bit different to Carl normally giving us the run through of a lap. And we're going to be on board with you tonight for your qualifying lap.
Thanks, Stu. Well, yeah, welcome to the 93 PC 488. And this is a lap of the ring.
It's a long one. We're just saying that tonight the key for a lot of the drivers is obviously going to be survival first before anything else. So looking forward to you taking us around here and giving us the lap on board the 93 PC. Of course, we and again announced tonight, just for those who weren't familiar, that you are series administrator as well as the owner of 93 PC. So thankful for you taking us for the lap. So take it away.
Thanks, Stu. So coming down the main straight here, obviously just up through the box, and then the first corner's super tight, and you might be used to this being just a hairpin where you head off what they call the arena section, but the 24-hour race we cut off the arena and turn left, and then we head down towards the next section. So looking for the cones here, braking just at the end of the cones. This is a quick sweeper. And into what we call the forward hairpin. Easy on the power there. Use the curb on the exit. And then just let the car flow down to the Dunlop hairpin here. It's a long hairpin. You just got to be very patient on the throttle. Use all the curb on the exit. And coming up to the Michael Schumacher S, another one where you've got to really use all the curb, just a little lift to get the nose settled. And then similar thing again for the Bilstein, left and right, so just a little bit more pronounced. And then trying to get on the power as early as we can, use all the exit to run down to little view of the castle on the left there. Now we come to the V-Dole chicane. So again, the Formula One takes a tighter version of the V-Dole chicane. We do the more open enduro version. And then we link onto the North Circle, the Nordschleife. Coming downhill, the track narrows up, becomes very bumpy on the Nordschleife. Little lift for this one. Then braking into the left-right combination. This is the start of Hatzenbach. The trick with the Nurburgring is knowing which curbs you can and which curbs you can't use. So here at Hochhaken, we use a little bit of curb on entry there. Over the crest and dip down into the Quiddelbacher Hoe. And over the jump here. Now this is called Flugplatz, which literally translates to flying place. It's not because the cars jump there, it's because there's an airport just over the fence. Grab 6 just as we hit the downhill. And this is the fastest spot on the circuit. Little lift into Schwedenkreuz. Brake at the surface change. Down to 3. Arenberg here is, you got to keep your mid-corner speed up and then feed the power in. As we bomb downhill, this is the foxhole. Absolutely flat through the compression here. You don't want to lift or it'll spit you out. Little dab on the brakes, take all the curb on the left there. As we take a very late apex here at Adenauer Forst. Avoid the curbs here, they really upset the car. A nice little, just a little reprieve here before we get into Metzgertsfeld, just a little lift for this one. And then back hard on the brakes, early turn in. And this one here, Cullen hard, tricky downhill braking, and then the corner's very bumpy. This is the corner that really threw me in real life. It's much tighter in real life, much more enclosed. The track's much narrower there. This is miss, hit, miss. You missed the first apex, hit the second apex and missed the third one, although I missed all three then. And then the slowest corner on the track, first siphon down to first. Heading downhill here, this is the village of Adenauer, famously the Adenauer Bridge. The actual corner name is Breitscheid. And then this bend up here, the left-hander, is called the Lauter Links. Links being left in German, the Lauter left. You can guess why. Braking. Late apex here for Bergwerk. Got to get on the power as early as possible because now we've got the big run uphill. We can take a breath, relax for a moment, just run up through the gears. It's not really as straight, but it is relatively speaking. And that's fifth gear 7,000 because it's so uphill. That's as fast as you go here. You don't go any faster at that. Just a little lift here to get through this one. Watch out for the grass on the right there. And looking for the curb, brake at the curb. Down to second for the Stahlstrecke. Uphill again, and the most famous corner on the Nurburgring. Down to third, the Caracciola Carousel. On the power early. Hear the revs rise as you jump out of the carousel. Uphill again, still heading uphill. And this next left-right complex is the highest point on the Nurburgring, Hohe Acht. And now we start the downhill section. This is all about flowing the car, being smooth. Hedvigsho, brake, down a gear, take some curb on the left there into Wipperman. Don't take too much curb there. These ones really upset the car. This is Eschbach. You don't want to make a mistake at this next one. This is Brunchen, also known as YouTube Corner. Because if you make a mistake there, you wind up on YouTube. Third gear all the way through here. This is the ice curve. Why ice curve? Because you never feel like you've got enough grip there. It's like you're on ice. Downhill into Flensgarten. This is the famous brake after the jump corner. Jump, brake, turn it in. Now I've got this little left-hander here, and then this blind left here is the one that nearly just scared the pants off me in real life. I very nearly put a 125i in the arm code there. In iRacing, cars have downforce. In real life, they don't, and you jump a lot more in real life there. Into Schroblensfans. And into the Kleines Carousel, the mini carousel. Get the car right in. Don't accelerate too early or it jumps out the top. Little brake here for the Galgenkopf. And we want to be on the power as early as we possibly can, get the nose tucked, because now we've got the Dottinger Hohe straight. And we can take a breath again.
Can I just point out, you are as calm as a cucumber. This is an easy Sunday drive.
There's no such thing as calm around this track, Carl. It's driven this track a lot in games over time. under the famous bridge. There's a bridge to Gantry. That's the bridge.
Oh,
Dip
give us
through
an estimate.
Tiergarten, flat here, and then brake.
What do you think this is?
Time-wise,
Yeah.
it's a low, maybe a 23. But I think I got an off track, so I don't think this one will count. But I've got one more to go, so
Righto, head down.
thank you.
Make it a bit easier without having to talk your way through it. Congratulations on talking your way through that lap. That is an impressive feat indeed.
Sam, we'll let you go at that one, mate. We'll jump you back out into the main driver's lounge there. Thank you for bringing that one to us.
Are you saying he wasn't in the driver's lounge already? He was lounging. He was 100% lounging. I could have fallen asleep during that lap.
Sam Lehman from 93PC, series administrator there, just taking us through, as you pointed out, Scotty, what seemed pretty much like two mates just talking their way around the track, not actually driving at the same time as well. Nice and calm, clean, and by the sounds of things, obviously plenty of time spent in the car, but bit of real life experience as well. Sam, they're thinking that he was going to do about an 8:23. I can tell you that Tim Orty has done an 8:11, which is quick.
Yeah, that is a really fast lap around the ring, especially in these cars. That is very, very quick indeed.
Okay, that explains why. BMW, that thing wound itself up along the straights. And can I actually talk about the Texans team?
Tim is actually in a Ferrari. So
never mind.
He's not too far off though. Luke Turner in the BMW, Ross Rizzo BMW, Adam Funslow following along, and then Jeff Connell first in the Mercedes at it's shared home Grand Prix, so home race. So yeah, a mix at the top.
One of the interesting things I found out, I jumped into one of the practice sessions a little bit earlier and had my first experience of vomiting in VR. So that was fun. You don't realise how much elevation change there is until you drive it in VR. I've got to say it's very different from driving it on a monitor. But down the straight, the Ferrari was actually quite balanced compared to the BMW. It's one of the things, because it's such a long straight, unless that BMW can get into the draft of the car in front, they're sort of very similar in the pace-wise. So it's quite interesting there, but the Ferrari does have the legs up through the twisty stuff, of course. The BMW does struggle a little bit in those sections.
So actually, this is a good point to reference. I can't remember who the YouTuber was, but there is somebody that actually does balance updates and balance of power updates whenever iRacing do some changes to the GT3 class as a whole. When the BMW and the Lamborghini come out, just before the start of Season 1 2021, put out a video that was pretty much passed around everywhere. It was doing the rounds on everywhere you could ever even think of. The BMW had the best top speed, I believe. The Ferrari had the best acceleration, but had the lowest top speed of the GT3s, so...
Yeah, I don't know. In terms of driving these three cars, I've always found the Ferrari to be the most balanced. The Mercedes is very pushy, or it can be very pushy. It's got such a long weighted front end on it in comparison to the Ferrari. And, jumping into the Lamborghini, I found it relatively similar to the Ferrari. It's a little chunkier in the way that it feels. The BMW is just big, and other than punching a big hole in the air and doing BMW things, I actually don't find it that great a race car in the sim. I imagine in real life I'd be overawed by it, but in the sim I don't think it's the strongest one. And again, it comes back to, in this category, how well they balance the cars. As Jeff Connell just gets a little wide there, that lap will not count.
Oh, that'll end it. Yep, that's done. He might go take a break as it stands, or he might continue on for a bit of practice.
But I find around here that I've expected that the Ferrari was going to be the strongest car, because I think overall it is the best package in terms of mixture of tracks. And of course this track, for all that it has two long high-paced sections, is really about punch out of the corners and balance through those tricky corners that Sam took us through.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. In terms of, and for the exact reasons that you mentioned, like the BMW, it definitely, we heard the guys talk about last week at Long Beach how it just ate through the front tires. You basically have to be riding the brakes to get that thing to turn, or you give it an aggressive squirt of the throttle and you sort of snap the rear end around and control it. But then again, these things have traction control, and because it is a fixed setup, you don't have a lot of control over the level that the traction control is set at. So, whereas the Ferrari, it turns nicely. If set up poorly, or I mean, if it's set up averagely, it can still plow a little bit on the entry to the corners. But other than that, it wants to turn naturally. It can snap oversteer a little bit, but it's not horrible. Whereas the Mercedes, Mercedes just suffers in most of the categories. So for somebody like Jeff Connell to drive that car to the capacity that he has, I think is actually a big vote in terms of his outright skill, because it is definitely the weaker of the three.
Yeah, it's time in car. What did you take out, Carl?
Sorry about that. Sorry, Stu, what was that?
What when you jumped in the server before, what did you take out on test drive?
As I said, the big thing I noticed was just the Ferrari just felt so much more balanced over the lap. I did have a quick go in the Beamer as well, because I sort of wanted to have a bit of a go down the straight. And as I said, it wasn't quite. Of course, it does have that top speed, that little bit of top speed advantage, but it just didn't feel like it was quite as fast as you would expect. And a lot of that's down to the drag of the car as well, because you've got to remember that there's drag as well in these cars. And especially going down the straight, whenever I had the BMW sort of close to me or in just a couple of seconds behind, around about a 7-second gap or so from the BMW, it didn't really gain or lose that much time from the Ferrari. So that's something I did notice down the long Dirtaclar straight. So it really did sort of, it jumped out at me as something to take note of, because I expected that thing to absolutely chew up that straight and really, really stomp the Ferrari down there. So it's definitely something I did notice there. And one of the other things I wanted to mention as well is just on the start of the lap where we see the cars just lining up at the start. That's actually the entry onto the track. If you're paying to go for a ride around the Nordschleife track, that's where you would enter and effectively go onto the track if you were paying to have a bit of a fun day out on there.
There's plenty to do. It's on a bucket list for a lot of people, that's for sure. It's certainly something I still want to do when I get back over into Europe at some stage in the next few years, but not something that everyone can do. And of course they closed it for a little while as well, with the amount of accidents that were happening, as we mentioned earlier on. At this stage, everyone is on their last lap. There's certainly no more time to start, and it looks like Tim Mitchell will be the last driver across the line. If he makes it, he's only got 3 minutes left, and he's less than halfway around the track, so I'd say he might have left his second lap run too late. As it stands, man on screen, Timothy Auty will hold on to pole position unless somebody can do something about it. Most of the other drivers, Luke Turner, he's just finished his second flying lap, did improve slightly to an 8:11.91. In fact, no, he didn't. His second lap didn't count. Tim Auty, I don't think this lap's going to count either. I'm pretty sure he ran wide. Ross Rizzo's just bumped himself, or is about to potentially bump himself up onto the front of the grid if that lap counts. Guy Leach is done. Andrew Dyson is done. He did an 8:14 flat, and Adam Funslow as well. So there's a little bit of shuffling going on. Some of the drivers just getting through their first lap and getting in a banker lap as well, because their first lap didn't count. So we'll bring you qualifying shortly with the last 2 minutes to go. Just might quickly just bring up on screen again just that race overview.
I'm gonna pitch a strategy here to you, Carl. I think the go-to strategy here is to go the 2 laps and then come in for your stop. I honestly don't think that you should be pitting after 1 lap, especially if you are a mile up the grid. If you're towards the pointy end, you want to keep clear air towards in front of you. Yeah, sure, if people ahead of you are faster than you and they start to pull away, no worries. Look, I mean, it's the Nordschleife. You got to respect it at the end of the day. But I think the worst possible thing you can do is put yourself in traffic.
Yeah, traffic's going to be key here. Traffic management is huge. The big thing about Nordschleife as well is it's a very narrow track, and that's something that people forget. It's such a huge track. You know, we've got a 20-odd kilometre track here, but it is also a very narrow track. You know, it's almost like a giant Monaco at some points. You know, it really doesn't have that much width to it at all. And it's very hard to get two cars side by side through the majority of this track. Yes, there are some overtaking spots here, of course, but a lot of it is very tight and twisty. So you can really struggle for overtaking here. And putting yourself behind some slower cars could absolutely ruin your night. So definitely going for that longer strategy is going to help for you. The other thing as well is, remember, going for that longer strategy is you're going to be a little bit lighter on fuel on that second lap. So you should, in theory, have a little bit easier speed with that slightly lighter tank. So that's going to help you out as well.
But you've got to remember as well that car behavior changes relative to that fuel tank. So what you'll actually find with a lot of the GT3s as well is that will get very, very tail happy when that fuel tank burns down. So that's something that they've got to be aware of, and risk factor is something that you need to manage. You were talking about survival. Well, if you want to survive, you want to minimize the risks. Stuart, grid time?
Absolutely. Let's get stuck into it here. We'll just jump on board with the guys as they're gridding up, but let's go through it here. We've got Timothy Audi taking out pole in the DPR Simrigs.com sponsored entry, with Luke Turner going to be starting next to him. Ross Rizzo Trick Esports in third, with Guy Leach in the Injectors Online Racing entry in fourth. Christopher Henn and Adam Funslow front up the next row of the grid, followed by Andrew Dyson and Maverick Benson in another one of the Injectors Online Racing cars. Jeff Connell, series leader, in ninth, with Jordan Boys in 10th. We've got Lachlan Capel and Mike Casey rounding out the top 12 as we flip over the page here. It is Richard Brookfield and Joshua Fitt off row 7, with Dustin Fletcher and Sam Lehman off row 8. We've got Matty Cartaleone and John Merritt off row 9, with Paul Mansell and Hayden Jackson off row 10. Derek Audie with Patrick Panton, Brady Buchanan and Liam Caplice rounding out this page as we flip over to Daniel Webster and Terrence Nielsen. We've got Isaac Edwards, Tim Mitchell, and rounding out the 29 starters for this penultimate round of the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series is Matty P. Johnson, and that is the grid brought to you by Simrigs.com. And we're about to do our warm-up stretch here. It is a pretty short one. We just trundle down the straight, and then we end up just making our way through the last 2 corners or 3 corners of the track before heading out. The turn 1 is going to be a real crunch. It always is in every series you get into. People get a little bit aggressive. They're trying to make up some positions, and it is a very, very slow right and left-hander to open this one up before they head on to the new section of the track for a run round that Formula 1 edition to the Nurburgring. So we'll keep an eye on what happens there. Guys, who are our tips tonight, starting with you, Carl?
I gotta say, I'm gonna actually go with Ross Rizzo. I think he's looking strong. He has been very strong all season. We know he can be very good at saving fuel. It's not gonna be a big thing tonight, of course, because it's a very different track in that respect. But I feel like Ross Rizzo's in for a good result tonight.
Absolutely. Scotty, for you, mate, who's your tip for the night?
It's hard to go past the front row. An 811 in a fixed setup. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? However, just look at how relaxed and cool, calm, and collected Sam Lehman was. Honestly, if anyone is going to tick all the boxes for tonight, Lehman is an outside chance. He's a dark horse. I don't want to put my money past him.
Excellent, and we are about to get underway here, so we'll head down in, waiting for the lights to go green. It is a timed race, reverse top 15 afterwards, and a great start there by Ross Rizzo, getting the jump on Tim Audi as well, so he's going to lead us down into turn 1. This is where it can be quite dangerous for the guys. Cold tyres, you can just see them all checking up there. Oh, doing a really, really good job at avoiding the damage on the intro there, but I think everyone's trying to make their way through. We'll just jump back through here and quickly have a look, make sure everyone gets through this first corner. You can see they're 3 wide, a little bit of a bump there as well. I think that might have been Terrence Nielsen just on the back there. So we did get through. That's a relatively clean start. And Ross Rizzo, what a start from him.
Matthew Johnson and Patrick Penton getting a little bit of contact through the first corner, but a great start from Ross Rizzo. And that big chunky BMW is going to be hard to pass through the circuit now.
something to keep note of is Jeff Connell got shuffled multiple rows back. He was looking to get really, really aggressive on the start, and he got, I think, for my liking, far too aggressive, and it's actually cost him. Whoever it was that was not the row immediately in front of him off the grid, but the row ahead of that, they got a really poor launch, and he was looking to try and slingshot past them. So was the car in front of him, and everyone got checked up, and Jeff got the worst of it, because then he got shuffled to the outside, and a couple cars sort of just nipped through onto the inside. But he's also quite lucky to still be facing the right way, because he nearly got turned as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about survival on this first lap, just getting in, getting some space on the track and seeing what happens in front of you. My tip for tonight is this man on screen here, Andrew Dyson. He is winning just about everything at the moment that he runs in, and albeit with probably a slightly poorer qualifying performance than he likes, he's already up one spot into 6th position in the Ferrari, which I think is going to be a strong performer as well. So we'll keep our eye on him throughout the night as the rest of the field trims their way through there. Adam Funslow is right behind him as well, because it's going to be quite close for this first lap for a lot of our runners. We've got half a dozen cars or so down towards the rear of the grid, all covered by a tissue. So we'll try and do our best to cover everyone as we always do. And if you're in the stream watching, do let us know if there's anyone you want us to jump to have a look at as we try and cover this enormous field on this enormous track. But it is Ross Rizzo leading us through this first lap.
It's just keeping an eye on everything. Of course, it's a very different track to commentate on, of course, because when an accident happens here, you can't sort of go, oh, that was just a turn number one. It is literally, somewhere across the actual field. It's very tricky to keep an eye on everything, so we'll do our best tonight, just jumping around to a few different cars and keeping an eye on things. But it's going to be a glorious race out here, as always is on the green hell.
Jordan Boys, sorry, Scotty, just quickly. Jordan Boys struggling at the start there. He dropped 8 spots on that start lap, so I'd say he got caught in that checkup that you mentioned just before, Scotty, and that's cost him a number of places. He's down 8 spots. Liam Caplice, however, biggest benefactor so far, up 8 spots, currently running in 16th.
Something else to consider as well, boys. We've harped on and on about the survival aspect, but I honestly believe it is going to be the most important aspect of it, as Ross Rizzo is a little bit of a run down the hill before they do start the full-on climb. So you'll start to see that here in a few moments. For my liking, you see smoke, you jump on the anchors. There's so many blind corners. Talking about smoke, Matthew Johnson is going to be one of the first cars that's heavily affected by an impact with the wall. And it is difficult to avoid it. Now, this could have been caused by anything. It could have been a solo mistake. It could have been a car ahead of him. No, I'm going to say it's a solo mistake. Yep, solo mistake on the curb. Oh! And that is, well, I was looking for a demonstration of what I was just talking about. That's the perfect demonstration. Unfortunately for Isaac Edwards, the cars, it's basically like an oval track. I mean, you bounce off the wall, you bounce straight back out in front of the rest of the field coming through, and it's pretty much just everyone has got to try and keep themselves tidy, safe, and secure. Does he save this? I was hopeful.
Oh, that is a big accident there, catching another car out. And as you said, just nowhere to go there. That was Jackson there just getting caught in the corner, just losing that back end. And what you were talking about earlier as well, oh gosh. That was a scary moment. What you're talking about before, Scotty, it's the thing of you do have to watch out with the rears getting light on these cars, because there are so many crests on this track that if you do get a little bit of a light rear here, it can really catch you out quite quickly, and that is it. Can be game over very, very fast for you.
You saw Hayden Jackson. He grabbed the curb, but then he nearly had it caught, and then he's still heading downhill and trying to catch the rear the whole way. He's just chasing himself for far too far. But Tim Audi, all over Ross Rizzo. This is going to be a battle. We're coming up quite quickly now to the carousel, which means we're probably about 3 or 4 kilometers away from the Dodge and Shahur. I'd say that is where Audi is going to line up and hope to slingshot by Rizzo, because that BMW, we're talking about it, ugliest grille on the service, biggest hole I think punched in the air in the GT3 field.
Yeah, got a good battle just coming into the carousel down the field a little bit with Derek Orty, Liam Caplice as well. Liam Caplice just getting the car loose on the exit. He just got the bad exit through the carousel, and they are battling very close as well. So there's a lot of battles going on through the field, and there is a lot of there's a lot to keep the eye on. But as you said, as they come down the Dolphin to Holland, it's going to be interesting to see how the Ferrari goes behind that BMW, because that hole is going to make for a lovely slipstream for Orty down that beautiful long straight.
Can you imagine doing 16 kilometers?
Oh, wow.
There's a dead Mercedes. There is a wheel that is no longer connected to the ground. I think the right-hand front on that thing is currently sitting in the air and occasionally just bouncing back onto the racing surface. Tow, Liam, please, for the love of God, tow.
This was Terence Nielsen just before that. He got real lucky. No, he did get lucky the first time around and then just didn't quite catch it the second time around. And then Derek Orty, I believe it was, who got all sorts of sideways here and parked the Mercedes. Just bounced straight back out there, and there's nothing that anyone could do coming through behind that. There's that blind corner we were talking about, and yeah, Audi will probably try and limp that one around back to the pit lane to get that corrected, but a little bit of collateral damage there as well.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake, and I did say that was getting very racy down there. Those guys were very close to each other, and I think it just a little mistake, and that's so easy to happen. But we are getting to the straight now for Rizzo. We're going to be getting up here, so how will the Ferrari do down the long straight? The BMW is capping out around about 257.
Yeah. Christopher Henn and I believe,
and we've got to move for first place now. Timothy Audi going up past the BMW. That slingshot from the beamer underneath the Bilstein Bridge has helped him out, and he's managed to get in front of the big beamer there. Timothy Audi taking the lead in the 53.
So do we think the reverse will apply on the next lap? Do we think if Rizzo sticks with it, that BMW will be able to punch its way past the Orty Ferrari? And of course, they will be pitting at the end of this lap as well. So
first off, I would be watching for turn number 1 here. I think this is a far more important opportunity because I have a feeling that Rizzo just didn't quite get the exit he was looking for. So that'll tie that one up nicely. Tim Audi, I think, went a little bit deep in there. Gap didn't close enough. All right, so now, now it's probably just going to settle back around to the Dodge her. And the reason I say that is, now a mid-pack driver, yeah, maybe you just concede it just to let the move go. Is that Dustin Fletcher that made a move, or is that Dustin Fletcher defending from Jordan Boys? Well, Jordan Boys. Yeah. Oh man. I love the Nordschleife, but it reminds me of Monaco. Yeah, I think you're spot on with that comment there, Carl.
It is a very giant Monaco, but yeah, it does have a few overtaking spots, but it is just so hard to make the moves done until you get to that straight. You are sort of almost stuck behind another car. I think what we're going to see is in the front is actually Tim Audi just running away a little bit. He is leading 2 BMWs at the moment, but he does have a good little bit of a lead. Did see Maverick Benson coming in from the top 10. Maverick Benson, Richard Brookfield, Mike Casey, and John Merritt all pitted, so they decided to come in on that first lap. Maverick Benson has got a nice bit of clean air for himself now as well, so he might be able to make up a bit of advantage now, depending on how fast he can go. But I think what we're going to see here up front is Tim Audi just running away a little bit from the BMWs through the twisty stuff. And that's going to give him the defence down the long straight that he needs, where he won't be taken by that BMW.
We're just looking here at the Funslow-Connell Dyson battle. It's one of the close ones on track. We'll jump back to Fletcher and Jordan Boys in a moment, and there's been a few runs through pit lane, as Carl mentioned. So there's probably a little bit of a play here as well for some of this track to just try and save a little bit of fuel where you can. I'm not sure how close the fuel number is going to be, but the pit stops here might make the difference. You just need that 10 to 2 tenths to get out in front of the car in front of you because the gaps are so close. It might be the easiest way to make a pass. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Look, I mean, what is it, 3 litres per second? So over 2 laps around the Nordschleife at 16 minutes, you know, you can definitely say, I think, 2.5 litres. It's close. The fuel burn per lap, off the top of my head, it's somewhere in the realm of, I think, 16, 17 litres per lap. Actually, I think it's 15 to 16 litres per lap from the Nordschleife, from Nurburgring 24 from memory. So to save 3 litres, that's only 1.5 litres per lap. That's not a huge ask.
There's a big dive here. Sorry to cut you across you, Jordan Boys there. Just trying to get the job done down the inside. Not quite managing to get it done, and Dustin Fletcher retains that position in 12th.
Yeah, so not a huge ask. It's big, yeah, sure, but it's doable. I mean, sometimes all you need is 3/4 of a second, not even a full second, and then that's even less than. Oh no, that's a limping Tim Mitchell. But is that a limping from lap 1 or is that a limping from lap 2?
No, unfortunately, from lap 2, Tim Mitchell there just having a single car incident again. We'll jump back and have a quick look at that. Somebody's just gonna, I think, catch the grass here. No, he's just locked it up, unfortunately, heading into the turn and bounced the beamer off the wall.
Big impact there. Unfortunately, he had to come into pit lane as well, so that is even more devastating. He's going to have to limp a long way around the track now to get that back. Into pit lane effectively. It's a awful long limp as well. When you damage a car around Nordschleife, it's a horrible feeling because there's such a long way to go until you can get back to the pit lane and start to get a few repairs on the vehicle.
In good news, it was a direct-on front-on contact. Now, that means a lot of engine damage, which means that there's not even a guarantee that you'll get that thing back to the pit lane, but at least it turns normally. That's the one saving grace for him. Stuart, the one thing I'm going to ask, can we grab that track map? Because that's generally a really, really good indication. So we ended up with, what was it, 30 starters here tonight? The track map. That's actually not as split out as I thought it was going to be. That's pretty good. They're all within about, what would you say, 1/4 of the track? Oh, wide! Dustin Fletcher on the grass and spinning tyres! Luckily.
As we've got a move position between Adam Funslow and Jeff Connell. Jeff Connell making the move on Adam Funslow and gets it done. Beautiful job from Jeff Connell taking the outside up the corners there. That was a very brave move up through Keshlin. Really brave thing to do up there. It is pretty much flat out all the way up through that section, and Jeff Connell, absolutely beautiful move there.
And to get that move done, Dyson had to roll out of that, so that's why Jeff Connell held on to it. Normally you might get enough of a draft to have another crack back at down the inside just before you get up into the carousel there, but because he's gone around the outside, Connell has had more momentum, got away from him a little bit before Dyson could actually respond in kind, and behind them, that Ferrari, I believe, was that Rizzo that had a mistake?
No, so that was Andrew Dyson actually in the background there, Adam Funslow, okay. the move on. So, yeah, certainly a brave driving from Jeff Connell there to get the move done. Adam Funslow giving him the room to get it done as well. And as you say, we've got sort of 2 packs here splitting out. We've got the lead sort of 10 drivers all at that top, at the moment at the top corner of the map as you're looking at it on the screen. And then just a sort of the rest of the pack has split out a little bit over this lap, but of course do remember that around about half a dozen or so of the drivers have already done their stop, so that gap will close. Drivers from 16th down all having been through pit lane at the moment, so pretty much an even split of the field having done the run through pit lane. So we'll see how this closes up. The lead pack are going to have to pit this lap. They will not make it on fuel, and they'll get underway with that third lap that will conclude the race.
So Connell was actually getting held up quite prodigiously there, because as soon as he's gotten free, he started to punch away. And Carl, man, you are just a bang on with the predictions tonight. Tim Wardy's starting to punch a little bit of a gap and a little bit of breathing room from himself. Now, for my liking, he is right on the verge of breaking that toe. So that gap is going to close considerably in about 1 corner, 2 corner. And there you go. Stretch the legs, boys. It's time to shift some gears, get up to 6th gear, and then leave it there for what was it, 15, 20 seconds? 25 seconds?
It's a fair amount of time. The thing is Luke Turner is right on the back of Ross Rizzo, so Rizzo might have to start defending a little bit from Luke Turner, and that might just stop him from getting a chance to get the attack on Tim Orty as they come up to Bilstein. So as they come up to that little bit of a corner, it's not a huge corner, but it's enough to make you lift off a little bit. So will we see Timothy Orty here just defending a little bit? You can see the BMWs are starting to close in a bit now. They're going to get a good draft here. Luke Turner's going to get the best of that, but you can see Tim Orty is just able to keep them just behind him as they get into the twisty section now. He just had enough room there, so they could not get the full effect of the draft.
Of course, there's a little bit of games to be played here because they're going to all jump into pit lane now, and I was just doing some timing checkups here, and the guys will jump out a little bit clearer traffic, but there will be some traffic for them to deal with, particularly for the guys from probably positions 4 onwards. So it's not going to be smooth sailing once they get onto this final lap, and just to be pay some attention to where they all get through. Matty P. Johnson's unfortunately come off track again. Matty Cardleone's in. Literally our top 15 on track will be in. Maverick Benson will be the first car not to get, and he's got the jump. He's got the jump there. Ross Rizzo on Tim Orty in pit lane.
He was stopped for 6.8 seconds. So his time was 6.8 seconds, whereas Tim Orty was 8.1 seconds. Luke Turner, 7.6 seconds. I said, watch out for Ross Rizzo for fuel saving and just saving that little bit of fuel earlier on. And I think that's what he's done. He's just managed to save a little bit of extra fuel there. So his stationary time is not quite as long, and that's given him the jump over Tim Orty there. So that's something that I was kind of thinking might happen. I wasn't going to say it because I didn't want to jinx it, but yeah, definitely an option there. Ross Rizzo has taken advantage of it, but has he taken enough fuel on board? It's only a lap to go, but if he's underfueled it by even a couple of, he's just half a litre, this could absolutely be devastating for him. He could just limp down the Dovnica Harden and struggle towards the final section of the lap like we've seen so many times around the green hell.
Well, Andrew Dyson had a similar pit time, 6.87 seconds in the Ferrari. They are the 2 fastest pit stops of the evening. So I guess one other thing Ross needs to do here, other than manage fuel potentially ever so slightly, is to keep that 1 second gap that he inherited out of the pit lane, because that will break the toe going down the straight. And of course Tim Orty's going to have Luke Turner hot on his heels to defend from. So
sorry Stuart, Adam Funslow and Andrew Dyson are side and side almost. They are battling as they come up to the entrance of the Nordschleife here. They were side by side coming up to the final corners of the Grand Prix circuit, so that battle was starting to get very juicy, but just ease out a little bit there.
Yeah, they're still hot on one another's heels, so good pick up there, Carl. Thanks for pulling us up to that one. Richard Brookfield, Matty Cardleone also quite close together. They've got John Merritt just in front of them, so the pit stops have sorted things out a little bit here. But Ross Rizzo has got a 3/4 of a second lead at the moment over Tim Orty. That is closing down as we go through the other fast section of the track, so there's a little bit of a benefit of the draft there for Tim Orty. Of course, it does lighten the nose a little on the car as you're going through, particularly through here as well, so he's just going to have to be a little careful. It's now half a second gap, but this fast section here will close that down. The Ferrari stronger through the twisty section as well. So
jumping back to Andrew Dyson, Adam Funslow is going to make the move here. He's got the inside line as they're coming up to that big crest section. He's going to have the outside here, which is going to turn to the inside.
Oh, there he goes!
He catches the grass. He just makes a bit of a mistake. He manages to stay there. What a save there, over 200 kilometers per hour there, and saved it somehow. That was a brilliant save from Adam Funslow.
Are you kidding me? 250 kilometers an hour, you tag the grass at the Nordschleife and you don't end up in the barriers? Oh my word, I thought Tim Orty was an absolute freak, an absolute madman for posting an 811. Look at this! Boys, wow!
Definitely safe of the night. Ross Rizzo is having to defend now from Tim Orty, who is absolutely plunging on the BMW. He is really putting on the probing attacks to Ross Rizzo right now. The battle is on between himself, Luke Turner, and Tim Audie. Those three are really close to each other. Just to save again. What a save from Adam Funzo. That is the save of the night.
In slow-mo, please? Oh my god. There it is. There he is, on the grass. Drifts it. And I've got running in the 90s just playing through my head.
That would have definitely been a brown trousers moment.
No, all planned, boys. Style points. We're heading out style points tonight, right, boys? Right, boys? Right, boys?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And he's got them all tied up at the moment.
Who wants to go drifting at the Nordschleife? No, I'm good. Just going for a lap's good enough for me. Drifting?
It is a rather insane thing to try and do. It's got me thinking back to the Isle of Man, actually. I'm just trying to remember who did it. I've got it on the tip of my tongue. Give me a second.
I'm clipping that. I'm sending that to iRacing Drives of the Month for me. My God.
Dougie Lampkin at the Isle of Man TT course, where he did the full lap of the Isle of Man on one wheel. That was drifting at the Nordschleife is as insane as trying that. But that was one heck of a save. That really was something else.
Some of us are mortals, and then you got these guys that are out in front, just like, oh yeah, ain't 11, ain't 12 at the Nordschleife trying to fix that up. My word! Look at Jeff Connell playing his way back into this as well.
Yeah, that Merc is quick at the moment. He's got Guy Leach in his sights, and he ain't letting him go. That is for sure. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one as they head down the main straight. I think it's probably going to be Jeff's best opportunity, and we'll see what goes on there. He's going to have the draft to his benefit as well, and it's close up the front still too.
It is. It's really close up at the front. Tim Audie is right on the back of Ross Rizzo, and he is managing to keep right underneath the rear wing of that BMW at the moment. So he is going to put the pressure on, and when they get onto the straight, we have seen that Ferrari does like when the big hole is punched in the air by that BMW's big booty. So we're going to see it again as they are quickly coming up to the end of this lap once more. So will Tim Audie be able to make the move down the straight once more? He's just got to keep right on the back of Ross Rizzo, keep connected to the back of that BMW, because as we saw on the lap before, as soon as they get underneath the Bilstein Bridge, you really will struggle to overtake.
Well, I was just going to say, like, have a look at Turner as well, because Turner's played himself into this. If anything, you got to remember that the draft from one car is it's a strong, sort of pulling factor, but the draft from two cars is much stronger. That car that sits in third place in the chain is actually in the best theoretical spot, and the Dodge Her is wide enough to run 4 wide. So we could end up in a 3-wide scenario for the race lead on the last lap of race 1.
As we come through the mini carousel, it is getting very close as they are coming onto the Donahan, and it is going to be the draft down the straight. Now, will Luke Turner make this work? Will Tim Audie be able to get it working? He's a little bit further away than he was last time to Ross Rizzo. This could be Luke Turner's opportunity, but they are quickly getting towards the Bilstein Bridge. It's going to be about 10 seconds. You can see Ross Rizzo has got to defend now. Tim Audie has got that draft. He's going to get up the outside. If he can get past before the bridge, he's going to do it. Will he make it through? He manages to get in front of Rizzo here. Luke Turner is going to put the move on as well. He needs to get there, but he can't do it in time before the curves. This is going to give Tim Audie the opportunity for this race win.
I was just thinking, Tim Audie actually went in there very hard, but he's managed to pull it up. Pulls it out of the last corner.
It's a drag race between Ross Rizzo and Luke Turner, and Luke Turner's going to take it for second place.
Well, it's like Indianapolis, the Indy 500. You don't want to be the car that leads it across the stripe with the wave, the flag in the air to signal 1 to go. It's the same here. You do not want to be the car that is leading the mad pack and the mad dash down across the Dodge and Chauffeur for the final time. It's going to be Audi from Turner, from Rizzo, Leach. Jeff Connell didn't get the job done on Guy Leach.
We've got another drag race, here between Brookfield and Merritt as well. Merritt's going to get him on the line. No, so Brookfield gets the job done there as well. There's a few coming through. Sorry, Scotty.
24 minutes of racing, and it finishes this close. We got an extra couple laps coming your way, ladies and gentlemen, for the next race. Don't forget, there's going to be 5 laps this time around, so it is going to be it's going to be close. It's just a little bit of miscommunication heading down to the turn 1 to park the cars and switch them off. Boys, let's unravel race 1, shall we? And most importantly, regroup and point the cars back for race 2 as the dregs of the field start to trickle across the line. Sam Lehman.
The guy I feel for at the moment is Derek Orty out there. He has got a long way to go still on the track, and after that early incident, unfortunately, it will be it's almost like the walk of shame the morning after, isn't it? You just sort of have to get that car around. You just sort of feel like you just feel, oh gosh, I've just got to get this done now. And it's not always the best feeling, but that drag race at the end, we've seen it at the end of the N24 a few times. Some amazing drag racing there. It's all big incident there.
Hayden Jackson. And...
Yeah, I was just going back with Hayden Jackson, Brad Buchanan just flashed up on the screen all bright red for a fair number of corners. So I not sure what happened there afterwards, but looks like there might have been a bit of damage to that car that he wasn't aware of, and it's just caught him out next time he's tried to get some pace up potentially. But what we might do in this instance as well, let's jump back and just have a look at the finish of the race before it disappears off screen.
Yeah, this drag race was absolutely spectacular. You see here down under the Bilstein Bridge, Tim Audi just getting it perfectly timed there, cutting in front of Ross Rizzo before the twisty section comes in. So close there, and you can see Luke Turner as well, just very close to the grass. He tried to make it before they got to the twisty bits at the end of the Jodaka into the straight of the Grand Prix circuit. You see he gets good drive off the corner. Then there is a drag race side by side, and Luke Turner taking that position by absolutely nothing. Nothing between those two.
That's an out of fuel car. That is an out of fuel car. That's what's happened there. Because I was wondering, how did he lose that drag race to the line? Because the initial drive out of the last corner wasn't actually all that bad. So definitely compromised him. Now this will tell a little bit more of the story. So I think we've got to follow this all the way through.
Just jumped out. But I actually think you might have been spot on there, Scotty. I think you might have just popped out of run out of fuel right at the end there. So.
Because the initial drive was good, and then all of a sudden, Turner just lurches up on him. That's what it is, because there's no sideways, the car's not sideways, the car's pointed in exactly the straight line, so you can tell it's not the drive. There's nothing wrong with the drive, it's wrong with the go-go juice.
Yeah, it just had a little tiny cough from what I could hear just as it was coming out of that final corner, and that's what cost Ross Rizzo the opportunity for P2. But Luke Turner doing a fantastic job of keeping as close as he did to Rizzo through those final corners to make that happen as well.
Now, I tell you what, if that happens 50, 100 metres further down the straight, I don't think Turner gets him. I think Ross Rizzo comes home in P2. So that is what did you say at the start of our last lap, Colin? You were on fire tonight, mate. That's 3 from 3. You said if you are 0.5 of a litre wrong, it'll cost you. And in this case, I think that Tim Audi was good. I think he was always going to get past Ross Rizzo. I don't think that much was questioned. But I think the issue was that that Ross Rizzo was half a litre short, and if he has that extra half a litre, though, he doesn't come out ahead. So, you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't.
If he was stationary for half a second more, he would have finished ahead of Luke Turner there. That's the big difference there, because he managed to jump Audi in that pit stop because he took what was about 6.5 seconds over Tim Orty's about 7 seconds stop. So that's the difference between winning a race and coming third. There is that little bit there, just maybe a little bit of overconfidence from Ross Rizzo just cost him that tiny little bit. And we've seen Rizzo just manage to catch that fuel so many times, but I think because he was being pushed so hard by Orty through the whole track, he had to push a little bit harder, and he just couldn't do the fuel saving he needed to do.
Yeah, and there's another story to that, because again, look at the way that Tim Orty draws the middle sectors of that lap. I think the BMWs are probably stronger through the GP circuit, because every single time they come through there, Rizzo was right on him. And didn't really allow him to get away. And then as soon as they moved out onto the Nordschleife, the Ferrari took off again. But here's the thing from Rizzo's side of the camp. I think he had to do what he did. I think what he did was the absolute best case scenario. He had to go for it. He 100% had to go for it. I think he's made the right choice. It's an impossible choice, but it's exactly what I said before. You don't want to be the guy that is leading the draft bunch, and you don't want to be the guy that's leading the draft bunch whilst fuel compromised. So, look, he made the hard choice. I think by the time they get to the Dottinger-Her, he's more than a second behind Timothy Orty, and Timothy Orty runs off with it. It's then a battle between himself and Luke Turner for the minor placing. But look, I mean, we can only make guesstimates, can't we? We can't just sit here and go, the race would have definitely happened this way 100% of the time. No worries. On you go. So
speculation is a thing that commentators need to do a lot of the time, and that's what we had to do tonight. But yeah, as you said, you have to go for it. You have to go for that win. And as a driver yourself, Scotty, I think you go for the win. You're not going out there to finish second. You're not going out there looking to finish third, unless you're thinking about championships, maybe. But you're generally going out there for a win.
There's a couple of drivers I've been talking to lately that are okay. So I'm different to these guys. Obviously, I don't have the same pace as these guys in terms of road pace. So they're a completely and utterly different story. But there's a couple of guys I've been talking to a lot lately about fuel strategy. And there's a very different mindset. If you are... Tim Orty wasn't saving fuel. We'll just cross that line. And then Rizzo was, right? So the way these two breeds of driver, they are two different kinds of animals. One of them sits there and saves his nuts for the winter. The other one just says, you know what, winter's coming anyway, we're all going to die, I'm just going to go for it. So it's a different mindset. And honestly, the amount of times I've been out on a circuit and I have been stressing about my fuel, but I love it. You got to go, you're 100% right, you got to go for it. It's an edge. If you don't equip yourself with the tools to win a race through any means that may present itself, then I don't think you can compete at this level. Now, the risk is, right, this may change Tim Orty and Luke Turner's strategies to this next race. Think about that. Now, they've just seen Ross Rizzo be so close to pipping them. Now they're back in the pack.
This is a great opportunity for Carl Leone. He's going to be starting on pole for this one, and he's got Jordan Boys right behind it. But those guys will have been looking at that race, and as you said, they will have been thinking about how this is going to go. They will have been thinking. They will probably have caught a little bit of the broadcast, just seen what happened there at the very end, and just gone, okay, maybe I should just take that little bit of extra second of a fuel just in case, because if I do get pushed through this track, then it is going to cost me. But then you're going to get drivers that go, no, I'm just going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick to my numbers. I know what I can do, and I know this is going to be my best option. And it's almost that engineering sense. You know, you've got those drivers that sort of have that thought of engineering. They sort of think about it as they think about it in that spec. They think about the whole race over the distance, the fuel that they need to do it, and they go, I only need this much fuel to do it. That's all I'm going to take. And then you've got the drivers, as you say, that go, look, I'm going to take as much fuel as possible and just go as fast as I can because, you know, screw it. I know I can make the pace. And it is that different style of thinking, and also different cars as well. Don't forget that there is different fuel flow numbers for the Ferrari, for the BMW, and for the Mercedes.
All right, gentlemen, at that stage, we'll just reset the room quickly before we get this one underway. Thanks to 93PC, Bridgestone Select, simrigs.com, and we're going to quickly run through the grid. AJ Insurance Services, of course, our broadcast partner. Very, very quickly, it's going to be Matty Cardleone and Jordan Boys off the front row. We've got John Merritt and Richard Brookfield off row 2 with Casey and Fit off row 3. Benson Funslow row 4 with Dyson and Hen off row 5. Jeff Connell, Guy Leach off row 6 as we flip it back to Ross Rizzo, Luke Turner off 7. We've got Audie Mansell off 8, Fletcher Capel off 9, Webster and Lehman off 10, with Buchanan and Panton off 11, Caplice and Edwards off 12. And to follow that up is Orty, Jackson, Mitchell, Johnson and Nielsen to round out the grid. Very, very quickly as well to mention Cancer Council and prostate checks. Men, we all are frivolous with our health. You cannot be. Don't take a gamble with your health. If you think there's something wrong, go and get it checked. It will only take you 10 minutes, and it could be 10 minutes that saves you the next 30 years of your life, as we are about to get this one underway. Just getting through the final few corners here, and it will be Matty Cardleone and Jordan Boys who will lead us away here. This will be a very, very interesting start to this race.
Yeah, I got something wrong with me. It's an addiction to sim racing, and the reason for it's on screen. Look, Cardleone, let's see if he can get this BMW wound up on the run to turn number 1. Getting set. Grid has shuffled itself forwards. We saw a little bit of chaos in the run to turn 1 in the first race. They get them stacked up, and away we go. Cardleone gets the start this time, so it'll be on the inside on the run to turn number 1. Once again, watch them file down in. Where's the checkup this time? Where's the bottleneck? It's deep in the pack. They're 3 wide. This corner is at turn number 2. The car's being spun at the back of the pack. And it's only one. There's only 2 cars that made heavy contact there, so that's actually not too bad a start.
Isaac Edwards going around at the back. Jeff Connell getting a relatively good start. He didn't really make up too many positions, but he managed to keep the car in contention. He almost got squeezed really far out. Had that car on the pretty much right on the expanse of the corner on the exit of that first turn. So really good job for him keeping it alive. But they are all very much battling for position on the Grand Prix circuit, because this is where you can make up a fair few positions having that little bit of a wider track.
Wider track, wider braking zones, most opportunity to make an overtake, and lead a lap of the Nurburgring for the first time. Jordan Boy is grabbing it with both hands. Dyson has jumped a number of places forward. Great start for him. I'm looking for a few of the guys around him. Where's Audie gone? Has Audie gone backwards? No, he's right there. There are our 3 that were on the pointy end of things in race number 1. And this time it is going to be Rizzo from Turner from Audie, and Turner says no thank you, had enough of that, shoves the nose down the inside. Great defensive driving there from Ross Rizzo, and I have a feeling he's in fuel save mode early, boys.
Yeah, he looks to be not quite pushing the car quite as much, just trying to, again, try and save a little bit of fuel to make that that sort of pit stop you need to make a little bit quicker, a little bit less stationary time, of course, because you don't have to put as much fuel in there, and that can save you valuable seconds. We know that BMW is going to be hard to pass through the actual Nordschleife track. The Green Hell itself is going to be tricky to pass that big old BMW. That thing does have a very big booty to it, and it is very tricky to get a Ferrari or a Mercedes down the inside of it through this very tight, twisty, long circuit.
We're on the front of Richard Brookfield here. He's putting a lot of pressure on Jordan Boys in the Ferrari as they head up to the jump there. You just said them go over the top of their cars, get a little loose. You've got to be very careful, get the car turned in and get back on it through here, or you lose ground. Just as you saw there, Joshua Fitt also managing to get past John Merritt, and they're still fighting away. Ferrari and Mercedes battle there, so it's not really the place to be trying to make moves as they're too wide, a little bit further in the background there. I think that might have been who was that? It was Adam Funslow and Andrew Dyson too wide, as Funslow now defends Dyson down into the right hander, and Dyson's going to have to settle for that as we head for our first run down the hill.
Dyson was showing off his drift skills the last time he went through there too wide. This time defends it a fair bit better. Sorry, was Dyson Funslow? Oh, look, boys, names are not... They're going in one ear and out the other tonight, I tell you what.
Yeah, Adam Funslow, of course, doing the mega save. He's got Andrew Dyson right up behind him at the moment. They almost make contact coming up through the corners there. They are really nose to tail at the moment, those cars. are very much as close as they can get at the moment, and it looks like Funslow is he's almost just keeping Dyson behind him at the moment. As I said, that Ferrari just unable to get past that big BMW, which is often the case. So he's just managed to keep a nice bit of a gap sort of behind him. He's chasing down Maverick Benson in front of him, I believe. But Joshua Fitt doing a great job as well, getting up past full position. That was a very brave move to make up through the first section of up near the I think it was near Fleetwood. So just very brave to actually try and overtake in those sections.
Some cars side by side. Who was that? Is that Daniel Webster? That looks like Daniel Webster.
It was Webster and Sam Lehman, I believe, who were too wide there, with Hayden Jackson involved as well.
There is a big crash in the mid-pack. We've got a lot of cars involved in this one. Let's jump back. We can see there the Ferrari has gone over. That was Mike Casey, and that car has rolled over. And as you were saying a little bit earlier, Scotty, blind corners here, and a few cars got caught with that one.
Who got lucky was Ross Rizzo. Just managed to drive his way around that one and keep that in the clear. He would have been sweating on that one.
Barbioni has got a big battle right now as he's got Boys right down the inside of him. He's managed to get up in front of Boys, who's now battling it out. They are really close from first to fourth, I think. That battle is absolutely nose to tail at the moment. Joshua Fitt is looking down the inside of Brookfield at the moment. This is a massive battle from the front.
And as usual, Matty Cartleone's got that headlight flash button firmly tattooed to first and second battles, and he is straight on the lights there as soon as he could be to Jordan Boys. Great move from him, obviously getting the run in that Ferrari up the hill and getting the move done while we were looking back at that replay, because Matty Cartleone was in the lead by about a second before they head into that section of the track.
Yes, BMW is struggling to turn itself. Now they'll climb it all the way up to the crest. So some stats on this one, boys. Here it is, the pinnacle of the Green Hill, the highest point on the track. It is 1,000 feet down to the lowest portion of the track from here. 1,000 feet, boy, what's that? That's 300 to 400 meters in elevation change?
Yeah, something you sort of forget about is the elevation change here. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, of course, because it is such a big track. You don't realise how much elevation change there really is here. You are basically going up and down a mountain. It is ridiculous the amount of elevation change you get through a lap here at the ring.
I just mentioned the term that was thrown at Algarve. Not Algarve, Portimao, from the F1 drivers. Roller coaster. It is roller coaster. I mean, what other track that is still in current use do you actually get a jump out of, except for Lime Rock?
Yeah, true that. And I mean, a jump where at the other side of it you're on the brakes as well. Like it's just, this track is so unique, and I know that out in out is something that was replicated when they did the design for the circuit in Adelaide as well. So you know, bits of the track are trying to be replicated, but you can't beat the original.
No, very much so. And, there are a few bits of tracks where you can make a car jump, but generally that is because you've made a very big mistake. It's not often you get a track, especially these days, where you do have a car lifting off the ground, especially these cars that do have downforce on them. Adam Funslow has lost the full front end of his car, so he's had a big moment somewhere around the track. He's missing the front end of that Beamer.
Is that Tim Morty?
No, that's Andrew Dyson. He's come to a stop on the track. So it says he's crashed. I haven't seen any damage there. Let's just jump back and have a look.
That looks more like a hardware failure initially.
Yeah, he's had to jump out of that. Happened. He's bailed out of that, so that's unfortunate for Andrew Dyson. He's just pulled up there on the side of the track, so hopefully he can get back into that one if he's able to.
Yeah, so
and there he goes there, in fact, back underway. So having to stop there for a moment for some reason. I think that's Hayden Jackson who's battling a car that has a likeness, or probably looks like it's going to be a little bit more suitable on the Little Mermaid than
we've got a
on
good
this
battle
one.
at the front. Sorry to jump over you, Stuart. Albionian boys having a good battle, as well as Fit and Brookfield. Joshua Fit has managed to get up past Brookfield right there, get into third position. The battle at the front is not over yet, though. That Beamer is trying to battle it out through the Grand Prix track.
Rizzo's dropped out of the... I was just having a look through the names as they went across the ticker. Has Rizzo dived into the pits, boys? Turner is still out there.
Benson,
Funslow
Funslow,
is still out there.
Benson, Funslow, Leach, Rizzo, Panton, Caplice, and Johnson all in pit lane.
I think that's Ross Rizzo's best bet to winning this thing.
Well, it gets him out of the traffic, doesn't it?
Well, does it get him out of the traffic? That's the question we've got to ask. Because remember what we were talking about in the pre-show? You come out and they tried it in the first race, right? Where they ran long and there didn't seem to be anything. But remember, they were only separated by, at most, a quarter of the lap as Matty Carleone makes contact with the rear end of Jordan Boys. And unfortunately, I think you're going to have to give yourself a penalty there, Mr. Carleone.
Yeah, Matty be furious with himself there. Just outbraked himself a little bit and just checked up a little bit too quickly onto the back of the car of Jordan Boys there, and he'll be very dirty with himself.
And the main reason he'll be dirty with himself is because Carleone is one of those guys that loves a fierce battle. He absolutely lives for it, and then he gave up 3 spots as well. So he was attempting, I think, to wait around and try and redress it if he could, but he's just too deep, too much time to lose. He'd rather just cop the penalty, and I agree with him.
Not too much damage, though, by the looks of things, to the rear of the Jordan Boys car. So the damage there, the impact was probably a little lighter than you might expect, but just enough in that braking zone to upset the Ferrari and push it wide. So hopefully here, Boys will be able to resurrect his race a little bit.
It's not over by a long shot, but it has made it an awful lot harder. What this has done, though, is given Joshua Fit the opportunity to take the lead of the race with Richard Brookfield in behind him, John Merritt in third, and I think Carleone is in fourth still on my timing screen, but Tim Audie has worked his way up to fifth now. So Tim Audie is working his way up through the field. So it's a closing on the back of this group of lead cars as we speak. So he's getting some good pace into that car. Still a lot of time to make up. I think he's about 6 seconds off the lead, but he is gaining on the front pack. So this is helping him out big time. Ross Rizzo, meanwhile, he has got a very nice open track in front of him. So that early pit stop will help him out a bit because he has now got some nice clean track to put in some good time.
You know what was actually really awesome to see out of those last couple of shots before we flicked over to Rizzo was actually Connell all over Turner, and Turner had to defend. He had to defend. Connell was looking for an opportunity there. He's potentially out of sequence, out of pace tonight, not having probably the greatest night in Jeff Connell's living memory, but a good enough night to potentially see him hang on to the championship lead. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, reverse grid races, you just got to make sure that you keep snipping away at those points. You never, what do you finish? P5 in the first race, and this is about there again?
Yeah, sorry, John Merritt just saved the car somehow. He got it all wrong going up through the corners and somehow managed to get the car stopped in time. He almost went into the back of Richard Brookfield. There was almost an almighty smash up the front there, but he managed to get the brakes on that Merc done just in time. That was very close indeed.
How's this, lads? We're talking about balance of power. It's always a contentious topic. No matter whenever you talk to somebody about a multi-class or a multi-manufacturer championship, they're always, look, spec cars are always going to create better racing. Spec cars create better racing. I mean, you can't ask for more than this. Look at these 3 guys. Yeah, sure, these aren't our current, championship leaders, but they're not all that far off the pace, so there's still a couple of tenths in it for all of them. But look how even it is. There's nothing separating these guys. They're attempting to run away from each other. They are throwing the hammer, the tongs, the kitchen sink, the washing machine, the dryer, you know what, the car at it as well. There's just nothing, absolutely nothing they can do, and we're about to see another overtake.
Oh, Maverick Benson has had a big moment. He is off the track, and I think it was just trying to get past somebody a lap down, maybe, or as he was fighting. He's had a big moment with Matthew Johnson. Big incident there for.
Sorry, just going to steal it away. Race lead. It could be changing, but then again, we're on our way to the carousel. It is one line through the carousel. Recognizing that, the boys will back out of the throttle, will settle it down onto the carousel and get it hooked up. My word, we nearly had a change for the lead.
Yeah, Josh Pitt there just running a little wide and just getting lucky at the point at which it happened on the track.
How close do you want it? As you're just saying before, this is multi-class racing at its very best. We have got a Ferrari, we've got a BMW, and we've got a Mercedes fighting for the lead around the Nordschleife track. And there is nothing between them. You can see the strengths and weaknesses of the cars as they're going around the circuit, each corner.
Merritt getting a bit loose there.
I saw Cardleone on the run up the hill, up the long sort of middle straight of the lap as well. He was in the dirt. Now, somebody else ahead of him makes a mistake, and now look at Audi. Audi has just bought a ticket here. He is actually going to get held up quite extensively about this, boys. Let's talk pit stops, because they'll be happening for the entire field at the end of this lap. I want a pit lane number on Ross Rizzo, and I want a pit lane number on everyone else, because we can guarantee one thing, it's Ross Rizzo was shorter.
Ross Rizzo was stationary in the pits for 17.8 seconds. So that's what I got on my timing. Adam Funslow, 21 seconds. Guy Leach, 20 seconds. So again, Ross Rizzo just taking a little bit less fuel. Hayden Jackson was, Isaac Edwards, about 16 seconds. So he's the shortest stop so far. But will this come back to bite Ross Rizzo, or will he work it out perfectly? It's going to be a very tight one again. We know he likes to play it tight on fuel, but that could be the difference.
Audi, what a pass. What a pass. I was just going to say, I was waiting for you guys to finish up, that Audi was being held up massively there by Carleone. Not for sake of driving, just that Ferrari so strong. And now he's just eaten the Mercedes as well. Just thought I'll have that as well. Carleone gets wide out on the grass. He's just holding on to it there, doing some drifting. But Tim Audi there getting past two cars on the way through to the back straight ahead. And this is going to serve him really well getting into the pit stops, because albeit he might lose a position or two here, he's going to be able to manage his pit stop a little different.
It's on for the lead as well. I believe we've got Joshua Fitt, and he is side by side there. It was Merritt in the background. This is what Brooksfield he's side by side with?
Yep.
So Brooksfield is going to inherit the lead of the motor race, coming to the pit stop cycle. Now he's going to get the car stopped and turned in at the top of the hill here. He'll dive off into the pit lane. He'll make a pit stop. Will he resume after the stop in the lead? I don't think he will. I think Rizzo might have this thing by the scruff of the neck for now. Cardleone all over the rear end of Connell. Boys, we have got a blanket to throw over 7-8 cars, and we're into the lane.
We are. John Merritt managed to get back past Tim Audi as well. So down the straight, the Mercedes definitely has a little bit more pace than some of the other cars. So that's something to keep an eye out for, because we've got Jeff Connell up there as well, and we know that he can be very quick. Now, where is this going to bring Ross Rizzo out? He's just going down Cajon now. He has just come under the Bilstone Bridge. So he is getting very close.
I honestly believe he's got it. Look, you ready for a motor race to be decided? Ross Rizzo's had an entire lap with no one in front of him on the track. Tim Audi was right there before he dived into the pit lane. Has he got this thing by the scruff of the neck, or is there a battle to go for? With 3 more laps left to run so far this evening, I think he's got it, boys. No, he doesn't. Guess who that is? Brooksfield is the first one out of the lane.
And Fitt has managed to stay just ahead of Rizzo. So Fitt just managed to get out in front of Rizzo there. Brookfield was stationary for a relatively short time. He was at 18.4 seconds. Jeff Connell has got a good stop as well. So he's right there behind Ross Rizzo, I think. So Jeff Connell has worked his way up into 4th from all of that, getting 7 positions. So watch out for Jeff Connell. He made his jump up there, but he was stationary stationary for about a second less than some of the cars around him. So again, it's going to be interesting there. So Jeff Connell was stationary for the same time as Ross Rizzo. So there's a lap difference between those two cars. Has Ross Rizzo managed to work this one out correctly? Because there is a big fuel difference there.
Well, by Jeff Connell's maths, he 100% has, but then again, is Jeff Connell and Ross Rizzo wrong? We're going to find out in about 3 laps' time how right or wrong these boys were. Joshua Fitt under the pump. Oh, my word. If you'd have told me we'd have been fighting like this all night long at the Nordschleife, I'd have told you were absolute crazy and you needed to get your head checked. Well, I'm wrong, boys, and I'm glad to be.
If the 24 hours of the Nordschleife has taught me anything, it is that you're going to get a fantastic fight here. It may be close racing, but you can get passes done here through certain sections, unlike Monaco. Through the tight, twisty bits, yes, it is very much single file, unless you are extremely brave. But when you get into the sections where you can pass, it really makes for racing, and you do get tight racing here. The pit stops could make a difference for you, and it is literally the difference of 5 or 6 positions in that pit stop. We've seen it there with Jeff Connell working his way up a fair few positions in that pit strategy.
Well, Fett ran wide and Rizzo had to blink out. Probably the most opportune moment for that to happen. He's found himself a spot. Now Fett will fall back into the clutches of Jeff Connell. If there's one thing I know about Jeff Connell, he's only got so much patience before it runs out, and he'll throw a move very, very quickly. I want to talk about Tim Audi because he is at the back of this pack. He had to pass Matty Cardelloni for the 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, Tim Audi is really on fire here tonight. He's doing a great job in that car, putting on the pressure. The battle is on. You can see Jeff Connell just starting to move that car around behind Joshua Fitt, just getting his big Mercedes all in the mirrors there, just diving down the inside a little bit, just trying to throw Fitt off a little bit, trying to cause him to take a defensive line. Fitt thinking better of it and keeping that car in the right position.
Well, Stuart, I think we both need a bit of fresh air. You got something to pipe in with here?
Yeah, I was just waiting for a gap there and keep cutting across one another, so I'm just waiting to jump in with the special comments. Having a look there just back through the lap of Ross Rizzo, because his last lap around...
Sorry to cut you off, but Turner nearly got turned by the guys in behind him. Who was that? That was Cardelloni nearly made contact with a car for the 2nd time tonight.
Ross Rizzo's last lap around at 8:49.24, so something, I was just trying to search back through the data to see what happened on that lap that slowed him down so significantly. Luke Turner, who stopped at the same time, put in an 8:18.85, and I think that is the reason why Ross Rizzo didn't take the lead of this motor race out of the pit stops.
Remember, Ross Rizzo started that lap from pit lane, so he was in the pit lane at the start of that lap, so that wasn't a full lap, so he came out of pit lane, so that would have been the pit lane time included in that lap, I think.
He would have started in 15th, so he should have started this side of the timing marker. Not sure, maybe. We'll see.
Well, eyes on. We've got 2.5 laps to go, boys. This battle pack isn't settling itself down anytime soon, so it is prediction time. Who do we think is going to pop out the other end of this motor race with it, and who do we think is going to run out of fuel?
For me, I think Tim Audi might get the job done here. He had really good pace leading into those stops, driving around cars like they were standing still, so my money's on Tim Audi for the win.
I'm going to go with Richard Brookfield. He has got a good lead at the moment. He's 2 seconds ahead of everybody. He is driving that car very well. He's got a nice gap over Ross Rizzo, and I don't think Ross Rizzo...
In the background. Sorry, just to keep your eyes in the background, that was Cardelloni and Merritt at it once again. These guys have been nearly side by side a couple times on this lap.
Oh.
Finn has now been passed by Connell. Connell's got a couple this race of that same car. Stealing defense in the background as well. I think Cardelloni's round. He saved it. What a mammoth effort from Cardelloni. How is that thing still pointing in the right direction? Well, boys, if you're going to buy a drift car, it's got to be a BMW.
Look, Carlione I think he might have just very much grazed the barrier, and that got the car back in a straight line for him. He basically got saved by the barrier there. But what a move by Jeff Connell there on Joshua Fitt. That was absolutely a moment of brazen passing. But what this is going to do is give Joshua Fitt the opportunity down the long straight once more. If he can keep behind Connell, we'll see how much power that Merc has and see if he can actually pull out from the slipstream. There are going to be some serious slipstream action down the straight right here because these cars are absolutely nose to tail.
Well, Connell's starting to pull a little bit of a gap here on Fitt. I actually think Fitt's the one that's under threat because look at the two cars that are behind him. He's got Turner and he's got Tim Audi right there. And if Audi's going to win this thing, I think he's going to get Turner. And I think he's going to get Fitt this lap. If not, I don't think the winner's still within his grasp. Do it. Oh, what have you got for us, buddy?
John Merritt's just hit the curbing here in that Merc, and that has punched a lovely big gap in it, and then unfortunately he's decided it was a good idea to maybe prop on the track a little prematurely there, and that has significantly damaged that very, very pretty Mercedes-Benz, so he will no longer be contending for the win here tonight.
It's a shame he's done a good run up until that point. He was sort of on the back of a few of these guys and keeping relatively close. He actually caught Carlione in that accident as well. Carlione, the front of that car is now... Whoa! Carlione just going over the jump sideways. That is not something you want to do. As we got another almost moved from position. But yeah, Carlione's car is absolutely... it is very much second-hand. That thing is going to need some serious love given to it.
A fair bit of pedal beating will be done after the race for Carlione. Brookfield is getting hunted down by Rizzo. Now, remember, let's have a look at the first three guys who are fuel compromised because they were all just on your screen. And there's the start of the cars that we know that are good. So Turner will bunch it right up underneath Joshua Fitt. I think we're about to see some weaving in a straight line. And Tim Audi is coming as well with these guys. So... Turner didn't get anything done in the Dodden-Shahar in the first race. Actually, no, sorry, he did. He made a move on Tim Audi. No, sorry, that was Rizzo that made a movie on Audi in the first race. Turner gets it done this time, and Fitt
just very much backing out there. I think Joshua Fitt just backed out there, just deciding that discretion was the better part of valor between that fight. I think he's just sort of easing out a little bit just to let these guys maybe run it out a little bit faster. He might just be in a little bit of saving mode there because it seems like he just eased out of it quite a lot there to let those guys past.
Oh, well,
like
here we go for the lead in the motor race. Ross Rizzo down the inside of the turn number one. Brooksfield is going to have to yield, and Ross Rizzo, well, questions over the fuel on that car, but right now it's in the lead, and that's the most important thing, and he's going to try and set sail here and then start saving that gas.
Question is Ross Rizzo going to be able to do it? As I said, he was stationary for 17.8 seconds. Richard Brookfield, 18.4 seconds, and he stops a lap later. Gotta say, it's looking dicey on Ross Rizzo. We know that he is good at fuel saving. We know that he is the master of fuel, but he did get it wrong last time. Will he make a mistake again? That's the big question. It's going to be a tough one for him. Luke Turner has got Tim Audi all over the back of him at the moment as he tries to make a move on Jeff Connell in turn. Those three are fighting it out. There is an absolute epic battle going on there for those guys as well.
My word, take your eyes off the screen for a minute. You have missed an unbelievable minute's worth of action. So just to recap what's just happened in the last couple minutes. Richard Brookfield has lost the lead of the race. He's handed things over to Ross Rizzo. Jeff Connell is in P3. Luke Turner's up underneath his rear wing. Tim Audi. They were let by Joshua Fitt at the end of the Dodden-Shahar. Now we're heading onto the Nordschleife, and Tim Audi thought himself a chance around the outside there, and Turner had to get the elbows out and say, no, thank you. You need to look at the rear end of this car for another... well, let's say 8 kilometres or so before you can even think about another overtake. But Tim Audi will think better of that, and I think he'll have a crack. But right now, bought Turner enough time to get down there. He is so close to the rear bumper of Jeff Connell.
Remember as well that we're coming up to another really strong drafting zone. These three in the pack. I think Tim Audie will be fancying his chances down into the next braking zone once we get up onto the gas here as they exit this section of the track. So let's keep an eye on this battle.
Yeah, that was Rizzo, Brooksfield, Connell, Turner, Audie. Fitz will just go through the bottom of the shot. No, he won't quite get there. So that is the lead of the race. That was a perfect opportunity to display things, and Audie's having a look at it. Nearly got there. He is going to get there. They're side by side. The last time we went through here, there was a car with a wheel on the grass and a car sideways. Well, these guys are going to continue to go side by side down through the straight, and I think Connell is trying to offer the draft to Tim Audie. Tim Audie in the grass! In the grass! In the grass! Saves it!
Gone into the sand trap.
In the fence, and Tim Audie's night done.
Not the place you want to go off there. That sand trap is notorious, and it is a horrible place to crash. A lot of damage there to Tim Audie. That is a real shame. He was really trying for that move, but not the place to do it. We saw Joshua Fitt just decide he was going to hang off a little bit down the Donahoe. Yeah, sorry, words not working there. But we saw he just decided that discretion was the better part of valour and just eased down a little bit. And maybe Tim Audie should have done the same as Tim Audie's launched it around once more. He's lost the rear end. I think he's just got frustrated in that car and just lost the rear end going into the corner. He just frustrated with himself, getting angry, and unfortunately that has cost him many positions. Tim Audie down into 10th position at the moment.
All right, now let's take round points, round victory considerations into this. Well, Rizzo leads for my mind. Turner will be in second. Now, Turner did get second place in the first race, so I have a feeling that if Rizzo wins this, I think he will still claim the round, even if Turner can get back to second place, because I have a feeling the gap between first and second is larger than the gap between second to third in terms of points, boys.
That is very much not my field. I'm hopeless at working out math.
I was waiting for someone else to jump in there because I'm not even sure I understood completely what you said there, Scotty, but we'll see when we get to the end of this one in terms of the round win, who takes it out.
Adam Funslow at the moment is going down the inside of Joshua Fitt. These two are side by side, and Funslow is going to make the move stick round the outside of Fitt. A brilliant move from Adam Funslow there in the big beamer, getting past the very svelte, beautiful looking Ferrari there of Fitt.
And that Dyson hanging on to the background of Josh Fitt there as well. There's another Ferrari up in things. There's moves all the way up and down the field. I thought we were going to get absolute chaos. Look, I mean, after last week, coming out of Long Beach in the reverse grid race, I thought we were in for a shocker here at the Nordschleife to follow it up. Joshua Fitt's going to have another go there. Jeff Connell's now put a little bit of a margin over Turner, but Turner's no longer got anyone breathing down his neck, so I'm sure he's taking the opportunity to put the big old X across any fuel question marks hanging over his head. Connell, though, is a wily customer. If you want to get it done over Jeff Connell, you are going to have to get up very, very early in the morning, or you're going to have yourself a straight long as
Joshua Fitt made a big mistake through the carousel. He actually got caught right up on the top of the carousel. That has cost him a few more positions. Joshua Fitt just tumbling down the order at the moment. Not what he wants to see from a great drive earlier on. He's just fallen down a few more positions. Still putting in a good performance, but just getting caught right on the top of the carousel where you don't want to be. And that really cost him a lot of time.
Oh, there'll be one lap left to run after this, and still a lot of questions to be answered. Rizzo is out to a commanding lead. The guys on your screen, you've got Dyson. That wasn't Webster right there with Dyson, was it? That doesn't look like Webster's car for my liking. No, it's not Webster. Yeah. Never mind, boys. To ignore anything I say. Joshua Fitt's still hanging around there, so that'll still be a strong top 10 finish, I think, for Joshua Fitt. Matty Cartaglione, man, after that accident on the first lap and all the all the troubles that the second lap and all the troubles he's been wound up in. He's lagging down in 21st place. He is, I think, 3 minutes off the next car.
Jump over you. Connell all over the backside of Brookfield at the moment. He tries to dive down the inside, doesn't quite make it, but Connell is starting to get impatient now. He's got Luke Turner all over the back of him. We are going to have a drag race between the Mercedes and the BMW as they go through the Kleiner carousel, the small carousel. They're coming up to Swallowback as well. It is going to be a drag race between these two manufacturers, the two big boys on the track, those big beefy cars. But it looks like Richard Brookfield's managed to pull a bit of a gap at the moment. Jeff Connell is really going to have to start pounding down because he's got Luke Turner all over the back of them as they come onto the straight once more. You can see Turner there. Connell trying to squeeze him a little bit, can't quite make it work. Brookfield has now got to defend against two cars. They're going to use the draft a little bit. Turner is going to get a good run up the inside here. Will we see Connell make the move as well? He's got the inside as they come underneath the Bilstein Bridge. Connell's going to make the move as well, and he is going to try and make it up through the curvy bits. Will he make this work? They're going to be side by side. Connell thinks better of it for the moment and just pulls back.
Oh, word, they were so close at above 200 kilometers an hour coming down the Donington. So Turner grabs 2 for 1. Now he's got the eyes forward. There's Ross Rizzo. You see him down the far end of the straight. Question marks in terms of his fuel. There is one more lap of 16 kilometers. Does Ross Rizzo have enough fuel? He's had a huge margin. He's had a huge opportunity to save. I think he should be able to get there. But Luke Turner is going to turn up the engine and see if he can go in hot pursuit. This is for the round win. So Luke Turner will want to put those points underneath his belt. Jeff Connell's had a phenomenal drive once again. Anytime you're looking for a driver of the night, Jeff Connell always wants to stick his hand up and put himself into the equation. The light's starting to come on the cars as well, so that's just going to change the track temperature just a wee bit. And the other thing it's going to do is change up the visibility on some of those braking markers. We've had sunset for a fair while now, so sun's been in these boys' eyes. Now the track gets a little bit darker. Another question to be asked of our drivers.
And it does get very dark around the Nordschleife. There's not exactly many lights around that track. It's not a track well known for its lighting, is it?
I mean, it's hard to get enough lighting around a track that's 16 kilometers in length. Can you imagine the cost to get that done? I mean, look at Sydney Motorsport Park and how long it took them to get fixed lighting in down there, let alone the Nordschleife. And my word, crazy man Carl Wizzy, where are you getting the money for these sorts of projects, my friend?
It just makes it more interesting. I love a bit of darkness. I'm a huge fan of Le Mans, the Circuit du Surf, of course, down in France. And of course, the darkness is one of my favourite times for racing cars because a racing car does not look any better than just at the point of dusk and dawn, when you can see those brake lights glowing, when you can see all the fire belching out of them. They just look perfect, and you're just getting into the sort of magic hour, we call it. Just as the sun sets, your tracks start to just cool down, the air temperature just drops that little bit, everything just starts lighting up and the cars start feeling very good.
Oh man, Sell, and is that Dyson that he's just gotten by as well? Sam Lehman. So the man that was giving us a well-instructed tour of the Nurburgring 24-hour layout has now got a lap to see if he can get it done on Paul Mansell. I think this will be Sam Lehman's best finish of the night too. He didn't seem to be doing too crash hot out of that first race.
Just jumping back to Christopher Henn and Jordan Boys. Jordan Boys working his way back up the pack, so doing a good recovery from that early little punt with himself and Cart Leone. Jordan Boys doing a good job of getting back up into the top 10. He's fighting it out for P6 at the moment with Christopher Henn, who's been having a solid night so far. Silence falls over the commentary booth as we're frantically looking for things going on and just checking what's actually happening on the track. It's always the biggest problem, of course, when you are racing on such a long track with so many cars, is trying to keep an eye on actually what's happening.
Just getting caught up with the three battles here. Paul Mansell and Sam Lehman still battling away. There's only a few tenths between them. I was having a quick look at Luke Turner and Jeff Connell as well. Christopher Hen, Jordan Boys, they're the three closest battles at the moment. And we've got to keep an ear on Ross Rizzo as well, boys, if we can do so, to see if we can hear if he's fuel saving towards the back end of this lap.
Yeah,
End of this lap. I think it'll be the whole way round the lap, to be honest with you, Stuart. But Turner now pulls a couple car lengths over Jeff Connell. And Jeff Connell, from my memory, he likes to not leave you asking questions of him. But Luke Turner, I mean, talking about Australian sim racing royalty, I mean, about the only place that you can go up from some of the names that we've got here is people like Susan Harlow, and then it's on to effectively the V8 supercar drivers for my mind. I mean, Andre Heimgartner, is it Heimgartner that normally jumps in with? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Heimgartner that normally jumps in with these guys as well.
At the Bend, and of course winner from the, which round was that? He won at... Silverstone, taking the win there. But of course, and also taking the win in the V8s at the Bend recently. Christopher Hen has got Jordan Boys all over the back of him, speaking about another touring car driver. Of course, Jordan Boys in the super. What is it called these days? Super 2, it's still Super 2. Okay, good. Completely forgot what it was called there for a second. But yeah, John Boy's one of the drivers in Super 2, of course, and a very much up and coming driver in the V8. Well, Supercars, I've got to call it. Supercars formula. And he is putting a lot of pressure on Christopher Hen at the moment.
Yeah, well, racing car royalty or not, you've still got to make your passes, make them stick, and you've got to do it within the time allowed for a race. These boys are rapidly running out of that. Heading up to the carousel for the final time here tonight, the final time in the last leg. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one more round in Aus Pro-Am Sim Series to come, and it is from Spa next week. And from memory, it's an endurance round as well. So there'll only be one race next week, but it will be a fair bit longer. And what a great track to float around Ross Rizzo.
Sorry, just to jump over you, Scotty. Luke Turner has taken out about 2 seconds of Ross Rizzo's lead in about the last 20 seconds. His lead is absolutely dropping. Rizzo is very much clutching it around at the moment. He is in fuel-saving mode, I think, and this could be a little bit spicy coming down towards the end of the track. Will Ross Rizzo have got the numbers exactly right, or will he have made a slight error once again? Will Luke Turner be able to pip him at the post once more? We're going to find out, because it is getting very close at the front.
Tell you what, the one thing that you do not want creeping in your mind on the last lap is Joshua Fitt has fits of absolute disaster crawling through his mind. As we jump back to him, pardon the pun, it was too easy to take, so the dad and me will jump in there. I may not have any kids yet, but that doesn't matter, I don't need any. Now, if there's one thing in terms of psychology you don't want, you do not want to be picturing the end of the last race. You want to put that in the past, deal with that, process it, and debrief on it much, much later down the track. And when you've got a car that's coming at you at a rate of knots, like Luke Turner is on Ross Rizzo, it is very hard to do that. Fuel limited, final time. They come out in third gear and start the run down the Dodger. This is it. If Ross Rizzo is out of fuel, that is not enough of a margin. He is going to be a dead man walking. Michael Jackson won't save him with a bit of moonwalking. It won't be enough. But if he's got enough fuel, then this is going to be a long, long run home for Ross Rizzo. He is going to be gnashing his teeth together. That BMW of Luke Turner, it's coming. The gap is just under 2 seconds. It's not going to be enough, I don't think. There they are. They go underneath the Holstein Bridge. It's the climb up the hill for the final time. Ross Rizzo leads. Question marks over fuel still haven't been answered. They were answered just after this corner in the first race, and the answer was no. No, he did not have enough. This time, he exits the final corner into the stadium, and he greets the checkered flag with just enough coughing, spluttering, and exhausting of the engine over the line. He will lead home Luke Turner. And for 5 laps around the Nordschleife, 3 laps in our opening race, Jeff Connell comes home third. That is a phenomenal drive for him. Richard Brookfield, for my liking, driver of the night for a 4th place finish. He fought tooth and nail to bring that car home. Funslow, boys. Oh,
Jordan
boys.
Boys managed to make the move on Christopher Hen at the end there and get that position. So Jordan Boys managed to work his way back up to 6th position after that disastrous incident with himself and Carlione.
What a race! You cannot ask any more of it. And Sam Lehman will bring it home in just behind Paul Mansell. You throw it back a little bit further. Liam Caplice is crawling down the Dottinger for the final time. He's weaving all over the track. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose. For my mind, that looks like a wiggling car. Yeah. So Caplice is under assault with 1 corner left. He's got to struggle with the steering. He's got a bent upright. That much is for certain. The thing does not want to come out of the last corner. It's a short run home. Is it going to be enough? The thing still weaves all over the track. He's trying for it. Every little bit of it. Weaves left, weaves right, breaks the toe enough. Liam Caplice will grab P16. I don't know if I've ever commentated that hard for a P16, P17 finish, as the engine expires in just enough time over the line.
Earning your money tonight, Scotty.
Oh my word. Boys, it's a prestigious race, but it's a great race.
I told you to watch out for Ross Rizzo with that fuel because he is very good at saving it and he is very good at working it out. He didn't quite get it in that first race, but that second race he timed it perfectly. He had one of the shortest stops out there. He was one of the first people to stop. He timed that fuel to the line exactly. That was a very good strategy for Rizzo and it worked out perfectly for him. Luke Turner, what a drive tonight. P2 in both races. That is one heck of a result. Jeff Connell as well, managing to get 8 positions. Ross Rizzo and Luke Turner both making 12 positions in that race, but Jeff Connell managed to work his way back up into the top 3 and once again having a strong finish, as Jeff Connell usually does. But Richard Brookfield doing a great job out there, as well as Adam Funslow, John Boys as well, working his way back up there into P6 too. Christopher Hen, P7, 8 Lachlan Capel, Dustin Fletcher in 9th, and Joshua Fitt managing to get home in 10th, luckily with that one. Tim Audie just missing out on the top 10 there, unfortunately.
So, boys, with that, we do have our top 3 in the room with us already. They've jumped in, eager no doubt to get out of the seat after a solid 60 minutes between the 2 races around this place. So we'll take it away. We'll get started with Jeff, boys.
Jeff Connell.
I was going to say, we've had a little bit of this tonight. Well, Scotty,
yeah,
I'll let you take it over, mate. Get on with it.
Jeff Connell, you've had so many drivers come up, put their headlights in your rearview mirror in that second run to the flag, and still managed to crawl away with a third place finish. It is not easy to get overtakes done around here. Trying to overtake Jeff Connell is even harder than that. But either way, the racing was good. It was clean, and we saw you go around the outside in one of the fastest spots on the track twice tonight. What a drive, mate!
Thanks, mate. Yeah, that was the most fun I've had on the sim for a long time. Was pretty happy. Like, I qualified 9th, and that was pretty much where my pace was. So to come up to 5th and then go from 11th to 3rd, that was pretty happy with that. And the passing was good fun. But, yeah, I was just going to, in that second race, once I knew I was sort of going to get a top 10, I was just going to cruise a bit because I didn't want to blow the championship. But you get excited racing the other guy. So in the end, I just pushed as hard as I could and had fun with it.
Well, when you've got a queue of cars, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deep, buried up in behind you for 5 laps around the Nordschleife, it's not easy to focus on your own driving. So what comes out of the Jeff Connell bag of tricks in terms of that sort of driving style, mate?
Oh, it was a bit hard because even when I was being held up, most of the time someone was probably in front of me holding me up as well, being the reverse grid. So, yeah, it was just picking your spots and so tempting just to dive down the inside in so many corners, but it narrows up and, if it's hard for me to make a desperate move on someone, it's the same for the guy behind me. So sometimes there's no need to block heaps. You just sort of positioned the car well at this place, and then you're sort of a sitting duck anyway down that long straight near the end of the lap, especially with the beamers there. But no, even still, it was good fun. That was awesome racing. So yeah, well done to Ross and Luke as well. They were just better tonight. They you could see some of the corners across the top. They were just more committed than I was, so that's where the pace was. So yeah, well done to them.
Well, perfect opportunity, perfect little segue. Luke Turner, P2 in both races, a cough splutter and a little bit of a points donation from Ross Rizzo in the first race. Yeah, you had to earn it in the second one.
Yeah, mate. I'll echo what Jeff just said. That is the most fun that I've had in a long time. I'm still beaming. That was elbows out, hard, but fair racing. Like, I raced side by side with both Ross and Jeff multiple times during that race, and none of us gave an inch, but it was fair. It was unreal. I don't know how to portray how much fun I had, Scott. It was awesome.
Just going back to that moment that we just saw on the slow motion replay, Tim Audie and yourself buried up in behind Jeff Connolly's are both trying to fight for the right to have a go at Jeff. And Tim sends it around the outside and just barely tags the grass. It's so easy to do there, mate. It is so difficult to go too wide around this track.
Yeah, I really feel for Tim. Like, I messaged him after because I know I didn't hit him. I know I gave plenty of room, but I just don't like seeing, such a good guy coming off like that. But that was the stakes of it, right? Like, we were all racing hard. So yeah, look, bad luck for Tim because I think he was the quickest tonight, as you saw in quali. That Ferrari was lit. So yeah, bummer to see, but awesome racing. It was good fun. I saw Jeff had the headlights on a few times, and he was trying to rattle me coming into the pits. It was all good fun and games. It was awesome.
Well, Ross, speaking about pit lane strategies, mate, the first time round it didn't go all your way. We were all sitting here commenting that we think Tim Audie may have been pushing you just that little bit too hard in the first race, but you drove away to a big enough margin in the second race to be able to save enough to get it home.
There was nothing I could really do in the first race, to be honest. That both Tim and Luke had better pace than I did, and I knew that if the gap was less than half a second going onto the final back straight, I didn't have a chance. And that was proven twice on lap 1 and on lap 3 of race 1. So really, nothing I could have done unless I, let off the throttle and let them both by and try something sneaky like that. But I wouldn't have wanted to do that anyway. But I think Luke and Tim had amazing pace tonight, and it was the pit strategy in race 2. Just getting that lap of clean air. I am surprised that Luke and Tim didn't do the same. Actually, I think Tim might have had a bit of clean air, but at his pace, he would have caught a car in half a corner with the pace he was running at. So but that clean air clearly made the difference, and you saw how quickly Luke was catching me once he got past Josh and Jeff. So. I was hanging on. I was trying not to look at the relative, but I couldn't help it, and breathed a big sigh of relief when I came out of the final corner.
So my only other question for you was that fuel strategy on that last lap, or were you still going full beans?
I had 1 litre left at the end.
So it was full beans. You thought you were covered, and you were.
Just couldn't quite get the pace that Luke was. And then I had a couple of scares getting out of the cambered parts of the corners where it felt like the car bounced, and I almost found the fence. So I was like, yeah, let's maybe back it off a little bit. I can afford to have a gap of just over a second coming onto the back straight, and that's had a little bit more than that. So I just brought it home from there. But yeah, fuel was fine.
Boys, so in reverse order of the podium, we'll open it up for sponsor shout-outs. Now, Jeff, we know that you're running that sponsorless black car, but still any shout-outs for you, mate?
No, it's plain black. It's plain black. So if anyone wants to throw some money at me, they're welcome to, and I'm happy to give them a good plug at the end. But well done to the guys organising the series. Like to have such good parity, for all 3 cars to be competitive. Even though the Merc struggled a bit on the straight, but even still, like to have a GT3 series that close around the 8-minute lap, that's almost unheard of. So yeah, well done to the guys running it. The guys that sponsor the series, Bridgestone 93 PC, Simrigs, and you guys, FGME cast as well, doing a good job with the broadcast. So, yeah, it's been good fun, enjoying it.
And let's just reiterate that point of balance of power on the Nurburgring, a lap that presents so many different low speed, mid speed, high speed, top speed, braking zone challenges. We talked about balance of power and how phenomenal the guys here do all the time. The Nurburgring shows us it is bang on. I almost don't want them to change the cars at all heading into Spa. I think it's good enough. I think it's bang on. But anyway, on to Luke Turner. Luke Turner, any shout-outs for you?
Just to all the series sponsors that run this: FGME Cast, HJ Plant, Bridgestone, 93 PC, and a big thanks to Ross and Jeff, for always being awesome, fun to race, and always quick too. I can't quite get them.
And finally, the most likely our round winner with a P1 in race number 2, P3 in our first race of the night, Ross Rizzo. What a drive from you, buddy. Let's hear who you've got to thank.
Yeah, second Luke and Jeff's comments about the competition. Really love racing you boys. This is my favourite part of the week, to be honest. And I've been looking forward to this round since the start, and it absolutely did not disappoint. So thanks again to the FGM crew. The car balance performance was excellent this week, and that's, funnily enough, normally the Ferrari is pretty dominant here in the officials, yet we did see one on pole, but I don't think it was the outright quickest car. But it was great to have such evenly matched cars with almost identical top speeds and different strengths around such an amazing and long circuit. And to my boys at Trick Esports and Trick Custom Fabrications and Pro Syndia.
Well, that's a lot to digest going forwards. I like the comments, though, from all the drivers. They respect their competition. Normally, you get guys up at this level, they butt heads. They really don't like each other when they're running that close for that long, because eventually when you do that, contact is going to be made. But Luke Turner says you don't want to see Tim Audi running off the road into the fence. But then again, when you're racing that hard, eventually somebody's going to come unstuck. What a night. The Nurburgring, the jewel in the endurance crown. If you want to win a 24-hour race of anything, it is at the Nurburgring. Ross Rizzo got a race win. Tim Audi got a race win. We believe Ross Rizzo has a round win. Stuart, Carl, what else you got to say about tonight?
Just the sheer amount of respect shown on track was brilliant. We saw a lot of passes and a lot of very smart moves as well, just backing out and not fighting for a position when you could have made it into a very awkward situation for the next driver. Again, really good driving standards out there. We did see a couple of incidents, unfortunately, but there was really, there was not much out there in the way of full contact and really just outright sort of that moment where you go, oh, that's a bit off. We saw such good driving out there tonight again, and that's what we want to see. But also the parity between the cars. We had a Mercedes, we had a Ferrari, we had a BMW fighting around the Nordschleife for lap after lap, nose to tail. When do we see that? It is so good at the moment, and this is what we want to see. And heading into Spa, it's just going to get better. I'm so excited to see that.
Yeah, for mine, it's definitely the amount of side-by-side racing. I haven't seen so much of that at this track, I don't think, ever. We've probably done 7, maybe 8 commentary stints at this track in the history of the channel, and I don't think I've ever seen that much side-by-side at such pace. So really great driving from the guys. As always in the series, we say it week in, week out, the quality of the driving here is probably second to none in any circuit racing series that we all watch and participate in, and certainly the parity again, just fantastic. So another win for Aus Pro-Am tonight, and some more great driving for us to be able to broadcast. It's really been good fun.
Now, I think I'll mirror those comments to fire everything off. I think, who's the real winner tonight? Well, Ross Rizzo can certainly claim the round win, shall we say, but the real winner here is all of the gorgeous sponsors who got up on the screen. Why? Because the racing was just that damn good. Competition was the winner. Respect was the winner. Great racing won a heck of a lot of points, and was it Funslow? It was Funslow who won the style points competition. Tim Audi did his best to follow him along, but unfortunately Ferraris don't drift as well on grass as BMWs do, so we learned throughout the evening. The more you know, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it has been a monster night from the Nurburgring, from the 24-hour VLN layout. We look forward to next week. It is Spa. It is the last round of the last leg. Then we set up and start to going again for next season. If you're interested in getting involved, don't forget to jump on over to the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series, Oz Pass as it's collectively known. Make sure you jump in on the Facebook group. Make sure you reach out to the guys on Discord and on the iRacing League if you want to get involved, because as everyone has said tonight, the racing is top draw, top shelf. We have been FGM eCast. Thank you once again, Simrigs.com, Bridgestone Select, Cancer Council, 93PC, AJ Insurance Services, FGM eCast. Follow us along on all the social media, FGM eCast on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all of the above, and so much more. I've been Scott Rankin. He's been Stuart Brown. Carl Wythe has been in the booth with us. All the drivers out on track have been your entertainment for this evening, and we'll see you again this time tomorrow, I believe, when we'll be bringing you some Xfinity Series around. Is it Coda this week, or is it Charlotte?
Yeah,
Charlotte. Back to the ovals, boys.
Yeah. And we've also got the Open set up for Charlotte for the Cup. So that is going to be one heck of a challenge. And of course, that is part of the Grand Slam. So get ready for that one. It's going to be a fantastic race.
Absolutely, and that is on Thursday night. So we'll see you tomorrow night, 7:45 on FGM eCast for the Xfinity Thunder Series for Anscar. And we've enjoyed bringing this one to you tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you tomorrow.